Berekwe's burial next week brings some emotional relief for Joy's funeral parlor.
And in sport, Botswana Football Association and Orange Botswana officially launched Season 6 of the Orange FA Cup.
Interpreting in sign language is Topo Taposa. Good evening. President Advocate Duma Boko says government is cognizant of the need to diversify the economy from its dependence on diamonds. In his remarks during the question and answer session with members of the media this afternoon, President Boko said the intention is to position the country sustainably going forward through sectors such as renewable energy, infrastructure development, industrial hemp and medicinal cannabis. Monica Setwaila with more.
The country's economy has for long been heavily dependent on diamonds. The need to move away from relying on one sector has been a major issue for the government. Now that the diamonds industry is not performing well, diversifying the economy is more urgent than ever.
We must aggressively diversify our economy away from reliance on a single commodity, diamonds. And that is why, in addition to speaking to the diamond industry, we were addressing investors in renewable energy, in other sectors, infrastructure. And we have said that we are progressing along the lines of industrial hemp, medical, cannabis.
Members of the media sought answers on the negotiations with DBS Group, as well as government's effort to improve the sales of diamonds globally.
Improving the sales of diamonds in the international market. And yet we know that industry observers know that mining and the sale of diamonds, or mining and polishing and cutting of diamonds, is the least section of the diamond value chain.
The focus now is on taking this stone from the mantle of our soils and giving it a living narrative. Why? Because it tells a story of a democracy, entrenched, vibrant, rich, dynamic, energetic. A democracy that has people behind it. People who have a life story that is woven into the story of the stone. Their human rights are tied and riveted to this stone. When you buy this stone, you are speaking to their needs. You are servicing their requirements. So buy the stone. Forget the synthetic.
Is there a time frame on the conclusion of the discussions between DBS and the Botswana government?
The time frame, any time for the conclusion of the agreement, everything is almost done.
It was important that during this time where there were issues and uncertainties around a commodity like diamond, which is common between the two nations, that the two nations or leaders of the two nations met to provide leadership and guidance on the way forward in terms of diamonds.
Amidst all the uncertainty, the president reassured the nation to remain optimistic about the future. Monica Setwaila, BTV News, Gaborone.
President Advocate Duma Boko says Botswana is fully committed to establishing a sustainable diamond industry. He further reaffirmed that the country's firm partnership with DBS will contribute towards the ultimate goal of growing the industry to secure a brighter and promising future for every Botswana. He was speaking during a press briefing this afternoon post Botswana's participation at FASAT 2024 in Belgium. Usidile Onkabetsi reports.
President Duma Boko's two-day working visit in Belgium last week set the tone for how Botswana's diamond landscape would take shape going forward. It is there that the announcement of Botswana joining Belgium as the second verification node for rough diamond exports to G7 nations was made, redefining her diamond story, lasting partnerships, and setting her on an uncharted and promising path of prosperity.
This trip to Belgium was about securing a better future for us all. The partnerships we strengthened and the agreements we advanced are designed to uplift every Botswana, from the miner in Joanning to the young entrepreneur in Tsabo, this is not just about policy. It's about people. It's about you. Together we are building a Botswana where every citizen can benefit from the riches of our land and the strength of our partnerships. The world recognizes the value of our natural resources, the strength of our partnerships, and the promise of our people. Yes, we face challenges, but we also have unprecedented opportunities. Together, we will build a Botswana where diamonds create prosperity for all, where investors flock to our shores, and where every Botswana can dream bigger and achieve more.
Botswana's ethical mining and advocacy on natural diamonds for development have positioned her well and gained her remarkable repute on the global stage.
This approval is not just a recognition of Botswana's leadership in the diamond industry. It is a vote of confidence in our transparency, governance, and commitment to ethical practices. The world is looking to Botswana as a trusted partner in ensuring that diamonds traded globally meet the highest standards of integrity.
The G7 constitutes 70% of our market, and so it's very important that we focus on protecting our market and ensuring that there is no disruption in the sales of our diamonds. The President spoke about building market confidence and being very clear that it is important that our partners invest in natural diamonds, but also in provenance of the Botswana story.
As the countdown to the first 100 days in office continues for President Boko's administration, unlocking transformation across all sectors of development and their value chains remains key to the delivery of the campaign promise of a new dawn for Botswana. Utsidile Ongabetsi, PTV News, Gaborone.
Assistant Minister for State President Ms. Maipelo Muphuting visited the villages of Tumasera to offer support to victims affected by the storm that caused widespread damage recently. During her visit, the Assistant Minister highlighted the need for improved disaster response measures. Mamusi Siska with more.
In the aftermath of a powerful storm that swept through Tumasera, local authorities and volunteers have been working tirelessly to provide shelter, food and other essential resources to the affected. However, the minister highlighted that a more comprehensive approach is required to mitigate the effects of future disasters.
I'm in the process of sitting down with the right people to rework the National Disaster Risk Management Unit in particular. In Zele, but not as active as we would like it to be. That is why Limpanakele Haketla personally, on behalf of Office of the State Presidency, this is a unit we take it very seriously. What is currently in place might have worked previously, but there's room for improvement. We are working on that, and very soon we will unveil the new one.
Despite displacing many families and creating an urgent need for aid, the storm did not result in any casualties.
The
storm was severe, accompanied by large hailstones, causing extensive damage to houses and vehicles throughout the villages. Windows shattered and roofs were blown away. Every village in the area was affected, with Tujwe and Maleti experiencing damage to all households, while homes in Seleka and Rasesa were partially damaged.
We did the costing and submitted the quotation.
We have completed the costing and assessment and are now awaiting the insurance to begin repairs. We are confident that by the time schools reopen next year, the school will be fully repaired and ready for children.
Window panes and everything.
The area MP also emphasized the need to enhance Botswana's national disaster policies to ensure quicker responses and better support for communities affected.
Climate change.
We have been informed that climate change brings extreme weather patterns, leading to severe droughts and storms. Therefore, we must adopt proactive and robust plans to effectively respond to natural disasters. As recovery efforts continues, the focus remains on rebuilding and ensuring that measures are in place to mitigate the impact of future natural disasters. Mamusi Siska, BTV News, Dumasera.
In Rantsi Township, Ms. Joyce Dikop, owner of Joyce Funeral Parlor, says the burial of Mr. Pitseng Gauberekwi of Metsiamanong has brought emotional relief to her and her employees. Ms. Dikop says over time they developed some attachment with Mr. Gauberekwi since they tended to his corpse to keep it in a pristine state for nearly 3 years. Angela Enosa with more.
The coffin that would hold the corpse of Mr. Gauberekwi Pitseng, the Musara man who made history by lying in the mortuary for almost 3 years as his family battled to get him to be buried in the CKGR as per his last instructions. Joyce's Funeral Parlor in Rantsi is where he has been lying all this time since the 23rd of December 2021. Whenever the security alarms went off, we came rushing to see what could have set it off, as we wanted no harm to befall his corpse. This is a big relief for all of us because it is the longest duration we have ever kept a corpse. The longest we usually keep a corpse is 2 weeks, so imagine keeping one for 3 years. It really took a toll on my employees and I. This has also affected us psychologically. It was too much for us, which is why I think we need psychosocial support and counseling. Taking care of the corpse over the years took a lot of care and patience.
After every week, in a remonta, a beremo cleaner, a beremo shrouda se shahape, a beremo busetsa mo body beke.
Every week we took him out of the fridge, put proper shrouding on him, then changed his body bag. We really had no choice. We had to come to accept the things the way they are. He was like one of our own, which is why the first thing I always asked when getting into work in the morning would be to ask if they had checked on Mr. Pitseng. We no longer treated him as a corpse, which is why when I heard he's going to be buried, I insisted on being the one to accompany him to his final resting place. I am even insisting that a space be reserved for me on the chopper, which will airlift his body as I consider myself his sole guardian.
Mo chopareng ke a tsena mo chopareng ke nna yo ntse ke tlhokomela Pitseng le tla intshwarela bat ke nna motsadi wa ga Pitseng.
Meanwhile, the final preparations for the burial of Mr. Pitseng of Metsiamanong are on track. His burial site within the CKGR already identified.
But they will do it ka dira ka before you know, it's going to be an encore.
The grave site has been identified and digging will be done a day before the burial as is norm. We'll finally be able to breathe a sigh of relief now that we have reached closure, and it is all because of God. This is why I think the new laws that will be formulated have to acknowledge Basara way of life so that in future we do not have a repeat of what happened to our family.
You know, the way of life, they have that special kind of culture. BOTSWANA should be interested.
Mr. Pitseng will be given a state funeral next week Tuesday on a day which also celebrates World Human Rights Day. Angela Nosa, BTV News, Rantsi.
You're still with BTV News at 9 o'clock. University of Botswana lecturer Professor Gizu Bentomang has called on government to build a new culture of prioritizing social protection and human rights to ensure access to healthcare and income security for all. Professor Ntomang cited development of social protection as the best approach to the alleviation of poverty in the country. Mpho Kileboge.
Building a sustainable social protection system which meets the requirements of a distinct populations is impactful to socio-economic development. University of Botswana social policy specialist Professor Ntomang says the idea can be attributed to the fact that such mechanisms significantly help reduce inequalities, improve job creation, and contribute to the ultimate goal of ending the intergenerational circle of poverty.
So when we talk social work, we don't talk poverty. We talk vulnerability. So social work is about addressing vulnerability. This is why it is highly imperative that today we want to engage into how the new government looks at social development. So we are now saying, let us be proactive. Let us go for social development framework where we will be able to be preventative and proactive in developing our own people.
The State of the Nation address delivered 2 weeks ago sets the tone for various players in the social development space to assess various development indicators and priorities.
When you talk about the social development framework, it's something that says, let us sit and see the root and prevent while we are doing what? Treating.
But for me, the development of the Social Work Council, because that is something that needs to be done through an act of parliament. And you would really want to hear what it is, what are the plans for our social workers, in that regard. Because we expect that a social worker has to be very conversant. Yeah. A social worker needs to understand what their role is, because we have always said this, or the social workers a social worker has got so many responsibilities that build towards social development.
Government is assessed on the basis of delivery. Governments come and go. We had a BDP government, it's gone. And everything is decided on whether they are efficient as a government, insofar as service delivery is concerned. The bulk of our people are dependent on social protection programs. It takes a life course approach from the cradle to the grave, because it is social development which is the anchor of the economy.
As the new administration navigates its first 100 days in office, various transformative action and dialogue continues to play out across the private and public entities as an indicative of a transition in motion. Mpho Kileboge, BOTSWANA Television, Gaborone.
In Kasane, Magistrate Wame Musugelo denied accused person Assistant Superintendent Ntusitse Marape bail this morning. The accused Ntusitse Marape, who's also Kasane Police Deputy Station Commander, is alleged to have defiled a 15-year-old girl of Khapamadi Ward in Kasane in May this year. The magistrate court was informed that Marape was arrested and detained on the 22nd of November this year, but later collapsed in the holding cells, forcing officials to take him to hospital, where a doctor gave him 6 days sick leave. Assistant Superintendent Marape, who is still detained, will appear again before the Kasane magistrate on the 16th of December this year. In regional news, in Namibia, Netumbo Nandi-Ndaitwah from the governing Southwestern Africa People's Organization, SWAPO, has been voted as Namibia's first female president following last week's disputed election. The Electoral Commission said she had won more than 57% of the votes, with a close-third rival Panduleni Itula getting 26%. Itula had earlier said that his party would not recognize the results, alleging electoral malpractice following logistical problems and a 2-day extension to polling in some parts of the country. SWAPO has been in power in Namibia since independence in 1990. A party stalwart, Nandine Daitwa, who is currently the vice president, is a trusted leader, having served in high government positions for a quarter of a century. Tato Khosemore is standing by to take you through sports news.
Thank you, Khomotso Mapani. Welcome to the last edition of Botswana Tonight Sports segment brought to you by Tato Khosemore. Good evening, and our leading story. The president of Botswana Football Association, Tarik Babitseng, says the Orange FA Cup tournament plays a major role in the development of football locally, as well as helping national teams to prepare for bigger tournaments such as CAF. Babitseng said this at a press briefing today in Gaborone as Botswana Football Association and the Orange Botswana officially launched season 6 of the Orange FA Cup. Victoria Dakin.
Babitseng highlighted that Orange Botswana's effort to develop football in Botswana aligns well with Botswana Football Association's mandate of seeing local players doing well in prestigious tournaments.
As we draw for the 6th and final edition of the current FA contract, let us reflect on the profound impact this partnership has had on Botswana football. It perfectly aligns with the ideals of empowerment, inclusivity, and excellence shared by Orange Botswana and the BFA. Ladies and gentlemen, this is not merely the conclusion of a contract, it is the continuation of a legacy. I firmly believe that there is every reason for this collaboration to flourish further.
Season 6 of the tournament, which consists of 48 Premier League teams and lower divisions teams, will be sponsored by Orange Botswana by over 5.2 million pula. The tournament features Botswana Premier League teams, National First Division League teams, Southern, Western, Northern and Eastern Bloc teams.
So last year, we did celebrate the success of Coach Morena Ramoreboli, who led Jwaneng Galaxy to victory in this competition. I remember it was a final between Diamond and Diamond, but Jwaneng won, so congratulations to them. Today, he is leading our national team with pride and purpose. Stories like this are testament to the far-reaching impact of Orange FA Cup. Last year's tournament was impressive, and we had spectators from diverse backgrounds showcasing the profound impact of our tournament and fostering unity and inclusivity. This year we aspire to even do better. At Orange we believe in the power of football to strengthen, unify and uplift our communities, and we remain committed to doing this.
Meanwhile, the draw for the last 48 Orange Cup Season 6 was conducted. The Southern Games will start on the 8th of February next year, while the Northern Games will commence on the 15th of the same month. In one of the 8 matches scheduled for the Southern region, Wikago FC will lock horns with Blue Stars. Pularufing will be up against Notwani. Tlokweni United will lock horns with Muchudi Center Chiefs. In the northern side, Sangoyo Bush Parks will play against Calendar Stars. Mahalape Railway Highlanders will be up against Gumarian Stars. The finals of the tournament will be held next year in June, where the winners will walk away with 800,000 pula cash prize. Victoria Dakin, BTV Sport, Gaborone.
In the FNB Premiership match played this afternoon at Royal Area Stadium, Township Rollers beat Extension Gunners 4-1. Let's take a look at the highlights of the match.
Nyamanjiva on Tamotoka talent touch Maswina, Umalevokosong, Utrepets Magaute, Bata, Quilikiele, Bayatanyale to Mbati Elias, Mataraganyore water, Sawalami boy, Kovisa, Abamo Koloveta, Udurata Pedi, Township Rollers. Wata etopelera konke banaba kwilikiele batale tsagola pitsa pele ba go ikhutsa Township Rollers Tabatati Kweleke extension Ganas Bona Balatela Kweleka Batale Kabelo Dambodule Bayatanya Letua Gorosa Sebobebe Setats and Lamole Bokosong Ponte.
No, ke tsala gore gona na re santse re le ka go build up. Ke tsala gore se ne se ira getse gompieno ke gore ne re batile go tshwara rola se ka play ya rona o itsenyela ya Ghana se hela go tshameka ball. Unfortunately the goalkeeper ba ira one that mistake. Me I can't fault him for that. I can't blame him for the 4-1 score line. Mehla se se lentela gore we are still building up. So we'll come back stronger next game.
No, in our preparation, in our team talk, we knew that Ghana is one team that will always come, regardless of the score line. So team in yellow, it's dangerous. We knew they will never hold up. They will be coming. So that's why we said we can. And we knew the other back four plus the keeper. They are very slow. That's why we were keep on saying, when we start, put pressure on them. Whoever is in their line of defense, put pressure so that we can gain possession in their danger zone.
Moving on, the Botswana National Sports Commission chairperson Marumo Murule has thanked the various affiliates for the good work they've done in this year calendar, saying this country performed very well in various sporting code. He urged the BNAC affiliates to continue working hard to make the country proud and well known on the international stage. Murule said this at the official opening of the Botswana National Sports Commission General Annual Meeting yesterday in Gaborone, Katlego Kgakole and William Seyoka.
The chairperson further said as the BNSC, they play a pivotal role in developing sports as well as improving athletes' livelihood, adding that they are excited about the government's promise to review the BNSC Act. He emphasized that this will help them to achieve their mandate and their 2028 sports vision.
Sport and Recreational Policy of 2001. I'm gladly informed that the ministry concluded the process to procure a consultant to facilitate the review of the Sport and Recreation Policy of 2001. We have no doubt that our ministry is the sponsor of this project. They will allow it sufficient time and ensure that there is adequate consultation.
Murule explained that they are on a mission to make BNSC a high-performance organization because if the people that run the organization are highly skilled, they will deliver and fulfill the Commission's mandate.
We have recently concluded a job profile review and competency framework project for the organization. The project has aligned existing job profile at the strategic mandate and develop the required competencies that support the execution of the BNSC mandate.
Lastly, the chairperson reminded the Botswana National Sports Commission delegates that there is a lot of work to be done to make sure they preserve the talent they got this year and continue to encourage others in the coming years in order to remain consistent on the international stage. Katlego Kgakole, BTV Sport.
Still with BNSC, for his part, Minister of Sport and Arts, Mr. Jacob Kilibeng, urged the BNSC leadership and affiliates to work closely together, as collaboration is the only way that can help to take local sports to greater heights. Speaking on Monday at the Botswana National Sport Commission Annual General Meeting, Minister Kilibeng also encouraged various stakeholders to come on board and contribute to the development of local future stars.
It is very important to work together in order to achieve the overall goal of growing our sports fraternity. And I know that to achieve this overall goal, we cannot act alone. As the Minister of Sports and Arts. So achieving this goal, there must be a teamwork or a team effort with the government, BNSC, and all affiliates of the BNSC, and all other stakeholders, including the private sector. So that's why it's encouraged.
That's all from Botswana Tonight Sports Desk. Thank you for your audience. Let's take a look once again at the leading stories.
At a press conference this afternoon, President Boko shared that government is looking to diversify the economy. Pitseng Gaobereke's burial next week Tuesday in the CKGR brings some emotional relief for Joy's funeral parlor.
BFA and Orange Botswana officially launched season 6 of the Orange FA Cup, which is expected to start with the last 48 teams in February 2025.
Tato Titi Khosimore bringing us to the end of our news bulletin this evening. In sign language was Taposa. Up next is the weather update. BTV News Ikanyarona.
Good evening and welcome to tonight's weather forecast brought to you by Lita Wadi Khomo. Today we observe partly cloudy conditions with very hot to extremely hot temperatures over most parts of the country. We recorded highs of 40 degrees Celsius over Gaborone, Lepepe and Letlhakane this afternoon. Looking at the current satellite image, partly cloudy conditions is visible over most parts of the country. Tomorrow expecting partly cloudy conditions over the entire country with possibility of isolated thunderstorms over Ganze, Kalahari, southern, southeast, Katli, Gwening and southern central. In the morning, we're expecting warm temperatures over Kalahari, southern, and Chobe district ranging between 17 and 19 degrees Celsius. Also expecting hot temperatures between 20 and 23 degrees Celsius. In the afternoon, we're expecting very hot temperatures over Ganze, Kalahari, and southern districts ranging between 36 and 38 degrees Celsius. Also expecting extremely hot temperatures between 39 and 41 degrees Celsius. Therefore, the public is advised to take necessary precautions. As for the African cities, we're expecting partly cloudy conditions over Gqeberha, Antananarivo, and Nairobi, 27 degrees Celsius. And also, I'm expecting showers with 81 degrees Celsius. Addis Ababa and Khartoum expecting clear skies with 32 degrees Celsius over Khartoum and 22 degrees Celsius over Addis Ababa. Cairo expecting partly cloudy conditions with 23 degrees Celsius. Tripoli is expecting thunderstorms with 14 degrees Celsius. That's the weather forecast. Good night.